Hi, welcome to Just Common Sense. My name's Brian Harrison. So, guys, tonight we're going to talk about a couple things. It's been going all over with everything going on with the shootings down in Texas, which is a very tragic, and sad thing. And, I don't know what to say. I mean, my prayers are out with the families. My prayers are out with the, obviously, law enforcement, first responders, everything they're going through down there, the teachers, all that. So I want to talk about a few things because over the last couple days, I've been hearing a variety of things. I've been hearing about get rid of guns. I've been hearing about getting rid of what they call assault rifles. And we're going to break a lot of this down. And, I want to call this mental awareness. And I really do. The problem that I'm seeing out there with a lot of this, we'll say it, President Biden, Harris, and all them, they're not going after the source. They really aren't. Guns aren't going to be the issue here. We've got a Second Amendment, which is not going away. That's the first thing. Now, that being said, I want to break down some gun rules and laws and things like that I want to talk about here. So, first of all, my belief on guns, and I've said it before, if you go out and get a gun, I think that you need to, before you can get a gun, rifle, or anything, my belief is you should take at least a 2-day class on gun safety. That's the start of this, okay? There's a bunch of pieces to this puzzle, and it's very sad with what's going on throughout the country when we see all this. Now, the reason why I'm calling this mental awareness, because first of all, I want to go after some of these parents, and some of them are good. I'll say it. Some of them just happens. But if you're a parent, my thoughts here is pay attention to your child. Pay attention to what they're doing. Be part of their life. Be part of what they're going through. I've used this example of people just saying, their parents just saying, oh, we'll go in there and play on the computer. And not giving them timeouts and stuff on the computer. Play for hours. They don't, if you're a parent and you got your child in there and they're playing on a computer and you're not monitoring what they're doing, do you really know who they're talking to? I'm asking you this, do you? So, the other thing with that is they need to have friends, not just on the computer. They need to actually have friends where they can go out, socialize with people, socialize and have good friends that they can go do things with and realize that's just a game on the computer. Some people take this like it's the real world, some of these kids, and it's sad. It's tragic that parents are letting this happen. And that's the blame on the parents for letting this happen. Your child is not a friend. Your child can be one of your friends, but you still need to be a parent. You do. You need to be a parent. And you need to take charge and not let your kids run the house. You need to understand that. There is times when you give them discipline. And there's times you talk with them, explain what's going on. Look, when I was growing up, my father was in the police force. He was also a Marine as well. He went through a lot throughout his life. And I grew up on a farm. And I learned to shoot guns at a very young age. Now, saying that, I understand how they work. My father showed me the safety of guns. And because I knew how to shoot, I know the danger of handling a gun improperly. And when I would see a gun sitting there, I knew not to touch it unless he was around. Because if you're saying to your child, don't touch it, don't do something, and you don't let them experience things. I'm not saying go out and shoot guns with kids. I'm saying teach them responsibility if it is with guns or whatever the case may be. So I understood that at a very young age. Now, mental awareness, there's many things here. We talked about parents. be part of their life. It's a huge thing going on right now. Huge thing. Social media. Do you guys realize, and if you start looking at social media, let's talk about this. Truly talk about this. First of all, parents, you need to know where your children are going to these sites, what they're seeing. Because I'll be honest, I can go on a lot of these sites right now. I can see people getting punched in the face. I hate to say this. I hate to be cold like this on this podcast. But you can turn on Facebook, YouTube, many of them. And you see people walking up and punching people in the face and fighting and everything else. Do you know why? Negative. Unfortunately, negative feeds people more than positive for some weird reason. And it's sick. It really is truly sick. You could see animals. I've talked about this. You could see animals hurting other animals or people hurting animals, and they leave that on these social media sites. They truly do. And I call out any social media site, whoever owns these companies, which I can name them all if you want me to please come talk to me about it. Explain why you're leaving that on there for children to see. This is another part of things, guys. Social media sites are a big nightmare, and there's a lot of things that on social media sites that can be positive. We see it all the time. Gun crimes. Okay, we're going to talk about it. We see gun crimes going on in major cities out there. Yes, Texas was one of them. It just happened. We saw it. It's tragic. It's terrible. It's very bad. We're talking about children. Yes, we are talking about children. However, we're also talking about, if you look at a lot of these states out there right now, not counting Texas because it can happen in other states, but a huge amount of crimes are going on in states that will not allow you to have guns. Or it's very difficult to get a gun. Now, let's break this down. What happens if we get rid of guns? And it's not going to happen because this is the Constitution of the United States of America right here. I guarantee half of you don't even know it. I guarantee half of you don't know this thing. And I know this thing inside out. I've read it a bunch of times. I have read it. You can amend some things, but you're not going to get rid of it. So instead of trying to fight against this, and some of you are out there going, well, let's get rid of it completely. Never going to happen. Not. We're not going to go to a one world organization where, it's one world. We're not at that point anywhere yet in our lives. I'm just saying, if we were to get rid of guns, let's just say it that way. How's that going to work out for you guys out there? Because truth of the matter is, you will not get rid of guns. Do you realize that people out there know how to make ammo? They know how to make guns? How's that going to work out? Because you know what? You're taking guns away from the good people that protect their house, their family, themselves. I want you to think about this. Do you think criminals are going to go ahead and say, oh, well, they told me I've got to get rid of my gun? Oh, my gun's illegal, they'll say. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But again, my gun's illegal. Okay, so what do you think they're criminals for? I mean, they're not going to give the guns away. They're going to keep their guns. They're going to get more guns. They truly are. And if any of you think this is the case and you don't believe in all this stuff, you better go look in the mirror because you're not very educated on this. And I'm going to tell you that I'm fed up with this. I am fed up with this completely, and half of our country is fed up with all that's going on. This woke stuff and all this. Let me tell you something. You want to talk about woke? Let's wake up the reality of what's going on in this country right now. Let's do this, please. And I did not want to get political tonight, but this has been going on with the radical left. I'm not going to say the left because I've spoken to a lot of people on the left today and right. And I'm telling you, a lot of them are still standing behind the Constitution. Why doesn't President Biden and Harris go after the real source of the problem? Why don't they go after mental awareness? Parents not focusing on their children. Also, we'll talk about children with problems or even adults with problems, with mental problems. Why aren't they focusing? We've seen this stuff on social media. We've seen all of a sudden there's somebody ranting about guns out there on social media sites. Like it's a big thing. Let me tell you something. It's not. And when you see something like that where somebody's ranting about, oh, guns, 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 and showing pictures and all this and saying they're going to do crazy stuff with it, that's a wake-up call. That should be reported right away. Right away. Absolutely crazy. I'm going to talk about background checks. You know what? You guys talk about background checks. We have background checks actually out there. And I'll say it. I have a concealed and carry. I do. And I worked hard to get it. I took classes, did a variety of things to get that concealed carry, and I had to go through a heck of a background check to get that, just so you guys know. And no, I'm not out there toting my gun around and showing it off and all that. My gun stays with me protected. And that's it. And it's for my protection and my family. That's all it is. Because people are getting crazy out there. We're seeing it. Yeah, it'd be great if we were all happy in the world and we didn't have criminals out there doing crazy stuff. Or young kids that have mental issues because they were picked on in school perhaps. Or some are on drugs. We talked about this the other day on fentanyl. Do you realize fentanyl's going up crazy? I mean, going up right now all over the country. Fentanyl, you know where it's coming in? From the border. Why aren't they taking care of the border down there? Because they want votes. They don't care about this. They want votes. And they call themselves Christians. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi, we heard that, what happened to her the other day. They didn't want to do... They basically didn't want her in the church for what she did. But I mean, when it comes to abortion, we'll talk about that too. So, I mean, seriously, it's not the guns. It's the people that are handling these guns with real mental issues. And that's what we need to focus on. And I just mentioned we need to do classes. Before you get a gun, you definitely should take at least a minimum of 2-day class of safety, how to handle it. As the instructor's watching, they're going to make sure you're not crazy with that gun. I think that would be a good idea as well. I think after I've been talking to people and after 5 years, every 5 years, maybe you should go take a class. Doesn't mean a 2-day class, but at least a couple hours just to see if you could handle everything, because obviously age can take on with this too, because if you're getting older and you can't handle a gun and you think you can, that could be a problem as well. This is something to really think about. You think getting rid of AR-15 is the real problem here? No. Do you realize shotguns out there, you could get a semi-automatic shotgun as well? You know how much damage a shotgun can do? A lot. But people hunt with them. You guys talk about AR-15s saying they're assault rifles. They're not. If you know the definition of a true assault rifle, is a fully automatic rifle. It truly is. Do you know how many police and military I speak with all the time? Far more than you guys. Most of you anyway. We talk about it a lot. Let me tell you, I am not for the people going out there. I've seen it before. Even on the right, they go out there and they carry their guns around, proving a point downtown when something's going on. You look stupid doing it. I will say it. The gun's fine to take to the range and shoot. If you want to do that, that's fine. There's no reason to carry a gun openly like that downtown when something's going on, say BLM's going on or Antifa, because I'm not a fan of those groups. But again, there's no reason that you guys go down. Let the police handle it. Let the sheriff handle it. That's their job. And when you get down there, you're getting in the way yourself. Just let them do it. But when it comes to an AR-15, I am not for getting rid of the AR-15. I actually do like going in target practice with them. But again, it's mental awareness. I already had some people go after me today on one of the social media sites. And because I just said the AR-15 is not an assault rifle because it's got to be fully automatic. And of course, they think they're right, but they're wrong here. But it doesn't matter regardless. Yes, I think they should do good background checks, which they're pretty much doing, in my opinion, seeing everything, especially when you do concealed and carry. You have to go through a long process with that, guys. But it's very sad what's going on out there, and seeing children get killed like this is terrible. It really is terrible. In school shootings. You know, I was talking about this the other day, and, you know, you could put police in all the schools. You can put armor on them and everything else, or do whatever the case may be. That's one option. How many police do they have that can handle that in all the schools? You know, there's the option of giving the teachers and making them go, well, not making them, having them go through classes, how to handle a firearm, how to protect the students, if they choose to do so. And there are some teachers out there who would love to do this. If they get the proper training, then that may change things. Because guess what? These people out there look at schools, churches, variety of other places as what's called a soft spot. And if you have teachers that are armed, not all the teachers, but you have a certain group that are armed, maybe they wear a pin, badge, something to tell the other teachers who they are, and you have something like this happen, first of all, it may not happen because these kids are going to say, well, we can't go in there because guess what? They know that other people are carrying. They do. I've already heard some things such as retired military might be willing to go in there and just stay in there and protect. There's been talk about metal detectors. Well, true. Very expensive. How are you going to get every window and door? It's possible they go through a window or door, back door, any of that. Just a thought. And you can't lock everything because that's not safe for anybody in there in case there's a fire that breaks out, in case somebody does get in there and they need to get out. This is just common sense, people. It truly is. It's something to think about. It's not about really the radical. It shouldn't be about the radical left or the radical right. It should be about Americans getting together, families getting together, talking things over, figuring out the best way to handle things when it comes to your children. These children that witness that, I really, truly hope that the parents are getting them therapy because, you know, seeing stuff like that, it's tragic. It's terrible for a child to see that. But again, we need to go after the problem. Not the guns, the mental awareness. And that's what they're not talking about. Why? I'm asking you, President Biden, Vice President Harris, I am asking you in front of the American people right now to come up with a solution to say we need to go after mental awareness and what's going on here. Answer my question if you dare to. Please. I would love to see you guys out there talking about what we should be doing. Because what you're talking about isn't fixing the problem. It is truly not fixing the problem. You know, we have heard over the last couple weeks about Roe versus Wade. And truly, the Supreme Court, that whole Roe versus Wade, was to kick it back to the states. That's all it was about. That's it. To give the states to make a decision. Because a lot of things do fall back to the states. You know, there's been rumors of California, some other states out there talking about abortion, talking about taking it up to 9 months. It's true. It's out there. You know, when you're saying my body, my choice, I understand. I get it. However, I don't get it. You know, I've said this before. If someone gets raped and they do it very fast right after that tragic thing, evil thing that happens, and it's sick for anybody to do that, but if they go out there and get an abortion right then, I'm all for it to get it done quickly before the heartbeat and all that's there. I can't even justify when life begins. But I can tell you this. We have seen this many times where somebody has a premature baby months ahead of time and they got put in an incubator. Right? They get put in this, it's almost like a crib, and it's got all kinds of hoses and stuff to keep the baby alive, keep the baby growing and everything else. Guess what? That baby's got a heartbeat. That baby's alive at that point. Wow, you didn't think about that, did you, some of you? Just because you can't see the baby and all of a sudden it gets aborted early like that? It's not the case. It's not the case at all. I've said this before, too. If someone were to get raped, which is a very bad thing, if anybody out there is sick enough to think that's normal, you guys are sick. So my thing with that, though, is if you decide to have the child, you know, we've talked about this on this show before. I think you should get therapy. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have the child, for sure, on a bad thing that happened, but therapy would help. And don't decide 3-4 months later, oh my gosh, I can't handle it. You made this decision. Do the right thing and keep the baby at that point and get therapy. Turn that negative into a positive at that point. And yet, we're hearing about, I'm kind of blending these together. We're hearing about these shootings going on, yet from a lot of the radical left, and a lot of you radical lefts out there believe in my body, my choice, and aborting a child. Do you know how many abortions occur a day? A lot. I call on you guys out there to do something about that. Do your research on this. Don't listen to CNN. Don't listen to Fox. Don't listen to all these news channels. Don't listen to your friends telling you something. Do your research. Because I guarantee a lot of you say, I know the Constitution. I do. Front, back, inside, and out. I do. I do my research, and I do it thoroughly. I don't get it from news sources. I don't get it from friends. I get it from facts, studying, going to the right sources. I truly do. If you don't do that and you go through, listen to friends about whatever the case may be when it comes to politics, when it comes to all this stuff going on, you know, I always say this. It starts out with one person, goes to 5 other people, and it's a whole different story by then. This is a fact. I hate negative stuff. I love positive feedback. I love positive stuff. Guys, we're Americans. We know better than this. All of us, right, left, whatever the case may be. We all know better than this. Seriously. Let's look at some of these parents that are on drugs, raising children. Where do these children go? What happens? Their parents aren't taking care of them, yet they're still under the roof with their parents. Sad. So, guys, I just wanted to break this down some. I'd love some feedback. Please do so. Again, as always, my prayers are going out to everything that's going on out there. We talked about Buffalo, by the way, recently. That shooting up there. It was tragic. But again, do your research on that one as well. A lot of things are going on. A lot of these crimes right now, you'll see something like that, but you won't hear about all these crimes going on in cities right now. There are a lot of crimes going on in cities right now which are terrible. There's shootings going on because of bad guys getting guns, bad girls getting guns, we'll say it that way too, committing crimes with illegal guns. Guess what? You can't take away their guns. They're going to be able to get them regardless. But it's better to protect yourself, your family, and have one in your house. I'm not saying go out there and tote a gun around and try to show off, because that's not the purpose of it. It's dangerous if you do that. It's stupidity if you do that. Guys, there is a reason why this was written many years ago, and it still stands. It's not going anywhere. So, guys, as always, I just want to thank you for listening. As always, I do want to thank our law enforcement, everything you guys do. Guys, you guys are the best out there. You guys truly, truly are. And no, we do not need to defund the police at all. At all. We need to help the police with all kinds of resources. Obviously, let's get them better uniforms. Let's get them uniforms that they're more protected in, more comfortable. Find ways to make them more comfortable when they're out there. I'm just saying. Let's also talk about a variety of things when it comes to that. Let's make sure they're getting everything they need to take care of what's going on out there. That's their job. They put their life on the line every day to take care of you. And some of you yell at them. And their job is to take care of you, and you're yelling at them. It's not right. It's uncalled for. It makes me wonder what kind of parent you had or have. Maybe some of you had good parents and you just got astray and you went with the wrong people. Just saying. Guys, I also want to thank our first responders, everything that's going on. Guys, down in Texas, you guys are awesome. Thanks for all the work you do. You're seeing a lot of craziness down there right now, and I mean, it's terrible to see that. I'm sure I can't even comprehend how terrible it is to see what's going on down there. I would not want to see that. And yet you're seeing it. I do want to thank our military for everything you guys are going through. Our military sees a lot of death all the time in war and stuff, and it's terrible to see it. They don't like seeing it. My own father was in the military. Most of these guys that were in war, they don't want to talk about what was over there, and I can't blame them. They want to get away from it. They did their job, they did their duty, and they're back. And again, I just want to thank our military for everything you guys do. And as always, I want to thank our truck drivers for everything you guys are doing right now. I know gas prices are up. I can go in inflation. That's a whole nother subject. We'll do that another time. We've done that many a times on this show. I do want to thank our farmers again for everything you guys are doing out there as well. You guys are going through a lot right now. Food prices are going up. It's absolutely crazy. This should not be happening. Chip shortages, paint shortages, glass shortages, fabric shortages. I could go on and on and on and on. Why isn't this being taken care of? Blame it on DC. A big chunk of it. Also, I want to thank you for all the people that are truly out there working to collect a paycheck. You know, I sit back and I'll watch everything that's going on with our country. You know, when I grew up, I never saw this stuff. When I grew up, we had guns. I grew up in Florida. We had guns all over the place. I saw people driving around with guns on the back of their truck and all that stuff. Different time. Not saying we need to do that, but I'm just saying we never had all this. We never had all this. And this becomes to where I go back to mental awareness. Discipline. With your children. I'm not saying beat them or anything like that. I'm saying talk to them. If they're not doing something right, ground them. Whatever the case may be, whatever discipline you put on them, that's fine as long as it's something, obviously, that's normal, not crazy. And I said it that way because there's some crazy people out there, too, that abuse children. And that drives me crazy. And that puts it to another point where I talk about social media sites and all. I mean, we do hear about it. Predators out there. Do you know what your children and who your children, I should say, you know who your children are talking to? It's your job as a parent to be a parent. Monitor. Watch. I'm not saying stand over them 24/7. Give them some freedom, but also just be aware of what's going on. Because we're hearing about it all the time. Bullying, all that stuff. I was bullied when I was a kid. A lot of us were. It's not right. But again, children, some can be like that. And that's what we need to watch out for. So as always, guys, just want to say God bless you. God bless America. Have a great night. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. And again, go to my website, just-commonsense.com. Again, just the -mark commonsense.com. I am everywhere. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple. I am on every social media site out there pretty much. So guys, thanks for listening. Give me your opinion. Love to talk with you because I'm not right on everything. I'll say it. We're all human. All we can do is do our best to communicate with each other, talk to each other, and not trying to go at each other. I know everybody's up on this, and it drives all of us crazy. We're all of us upset over this. So there's not a problem with being upset. If you're upset, it's normal. If you're not upset, you got a problem. All right, as always, guys, God bless you. God bless America. Have a great night, and thank you for listening, and I'll talk with you soon. Thank you.